Addicts, don't ask how I got myself into this. Let's just say we are in Bisbee, Arizona, and what happens in Bisbee should stay in Bisbee. Addicts, if you saw our last video, you will remember that we visited Tombstone and are headed to the ever-popular town of Bisbee. It's a short 30-minute ride where we will get some good food and rest for the evening. I'm not sure what you call the place we stayed, but even motels have a TV. Seriously, I got no TV to put me to sleep. We got Alan here representing Cruise Tucson. It's a small group here in Tucson. How many members you got?
On the Facebook page, there's 980 something. And the biggest ride that I've been on has been 31 bikes.
It's a lot of bikes.
Yeah, they're good people. They're fun.
Addicts, it's story time. I have to explain how we got here. Not many places were open when we arrived in Bisbee, but Renegade and I were starving. Our server in Sonoyta a day earlier said we had to try St. Elmo's. She said the fries made her cry. Little confused as to what that meant, if it was a good or a bad thing, but hey, St. Elmo's was open and the only place still serving food. When we got to St. Elmo's, they were asking for a cover charge of $15, saying that there was a live band playing that evening. We really just wanted to get a bite and head back to our hotel, our motel, our inn, maybe it's a hostel, whatever it was, we wouldn't be at St. Elmo's long enough to enjoy the band. They said we had to make some kind of donation, so Renegade and I got in for $5 total. Never had to pay just to eat before, but hey, it's in Bisbee, and they do things their way. We quickly found a table, sat down, and placed our order. We could see the band getting ready to play, and this is what happened. Is she dancing with a freaking puppet? Yeah, she is. This became the weirdest, most uncomfortable meal I have ever participated in. Once Renegade and I realized this is more of a burlesque show than a live band, we couldn't get our food fast enough. Eventually we got our food, and I'm pretty sure I won a contest for eating the hamburger in under 2 minutes. When Renegade and I finally got out of there, we just looked at each other and laughed for what seemed like an hour. That had to be the weirdest live band performance I had ever seen. Bisbee is known for its art scene. Just not sure we can call it art. Anyways, it made for a memorable experience. As anxious as we were to get back to our rooms, we had to leave our mark, and Renegade wanted to introduce me to popcorn and sriracha at the Old Bisbee Brewing Company. It was actually very good. What's up, Addicts? Boss Hog here. Just got done with our first night, I guess, and our only night here in Bisbee, Arizona. To touch bases on the first night, I'd have to say it's probably the worst hotel I've ever stayed at. It was the hardest bed I've ever slept on, and frankly, according to Alan, it's better than sleeping on the ground next to the motorcycles. Well, I'm not sure that's the truth. But yesterday was awesome. We got to go through Tombstone, check out the OK Corral, and see some of the sights there. Had a good night last night watching some crazy shows. And now we're headed off to Chiricahua National Monument. Addicts, before we left town, we had to ride the historic streets of Bisbee and talk about the history of this culturally rich and unique town. Bisbee is located in the Mule Mountains of southeastern Arizona, Founded in 1880 after the discovery of copper, gold, and silver, Bisbee quickly rose to become the largest town in the Arizona Territory. Mining in the Mule Mountains proved to be very successful. Besides the copper and gold, byproducts from Bisbee's copper mining activities known as turquoise and Bisbee blue can be found in museum collections throughout the world. The most famous mine in the area is the Queen Mine, also known as the Copper Queen Mine. The mine ceased operations in 1975 and is now one of the most famous mine tours in the world. It's rare to be able to take a rail car into a mine to explore the history of its operations. Post-mining operations, Bisbee has become known for its artist culture and historic architecture. Bisbee has also produced professional baseball and football players, boxing champions, actors. My favorite is Wilson from Home Improvement, movie producers, authors, comedians, and of course, many artists. As running events have become popular throughout America, I believe the Bisbee 1000, also known as the Great Stair Climb, is what Bisbee has become known for throughout the U.S. This event attracts thousands of visitors to this small town to challenge themselves on the 4.5-mile event that includes over 1,000 stairs to climb along the way. Such a great and successful event for such a small and unique town. Addicts, this is Bisbee, Arizona, known as Queen of the Copper Camps. The Copper Queen Mine isn't the only famous mine in the area. The Lavender Open Pit Mine is the most viewed mine in Bisbee. It helps that it's right off the road and you can't miss it if you tried. This mine is most famous for its role in ensuring that copper demands were met during World War I. Fittingly, there is a war memorial at the Overlook as a reminder of its role along with those who served. The abandoned town of Lowell is like stepping back in time. The town was thriving in the early 1900s. However, in 1917, thousands of miners were deported to New Mexico because they tried to unionize, fighting for safer working conditions and better wages. Years later, following the Great Depression, Lowell made a comeback and its town limits swelled in population. When the Lavender Pit Mine required expansion, it affected residential areas. More than 250 homes and 20 businesses were swallowed up by eminent domain. Eventually, there wasn't enough foot traffic to support the retail efforts on Erie Street. The Lowell Americana Project is made up of volunteers who have worked tirelessly to preserve the historic nature of Erie Street in Lowell. The street has become an outdoor museum that showcases life in the 1940s to the early 1970s. Walking Erie Street was a bit nostalgic, especially when I saw that gas prices were 77 cents for a gallon of gas. Talk about the good old days. Addicts, we are off to Chiricahua National Monument, so join us on our journey and have the adventure of a lifetime. Until next time, live life at 100 miles per hour.